Now at 11, nice weather today, but we're tracking the next cold front headed to North Texas, the chance for rain this week. Plus, the nation's capital on high alert, the security in place as we count down to Inauguration Day and honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The virtual events happening in North Texas today.
You're watching NBC5 News at 11.
But first, here at 11 o'clock, no regrets. That is what we are hearing from a Frisco realtor who was part of the group that stormed the U.S. Capitol. Now, Jenna Ryan was arrested by the FBI on Friday afternoon and is facing criminal charges. She told NBC News she played no part in the violence and had no idea what was happening inside of the Capitol. Ryan, as you see there, was photographed inside of the Capitol in the mass of people. She condemned the violence, though. Here's part of what she said to NBC News.
I'm an honest person, and if I felt in danger, I would have been out of there. I personally feel innocent in everything that I have done. I feel like the police officers were ushering people in to the Capitol. I ended up getting in the Capitol for about 2 minutes, and I was like, ew, this is not where I want to be.
She went on to tell Cynthia McFadden that she says she believes the election was stolen, even though the results were certified and the challenges from President Trump's legal team were thrown out by several judges across the country. She said the bottom line here is she went to D.C. to support the president, and she's asking the president to pardon her. Ryan's lawyers asked her not to speak to NBC News, but she said she wanted to be able to tell her side of the story. Tense moments inside the Capitol complex about 2 hours ago. Our cameras captured officers moving quickly as buildings went on lockdown after reports of some kind of fire and explosion. Turns out the fire was several miles away in a homeless camp. That lockdown is now over. That kind of scare, though, has law enforcement on edge right now. There is unprecedented security in the nation's capital. Less than 48 hours of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. The transfer of power will be unlike anything we've seen in this country's history. NBC's Jay Gray is in Washington with a look at the security effort there.
The buildup of troops in Washington continues. More than 15,000 soldiers now posted around the Capitol and across the city, with another 10,000 expected before Wednesday's inauguration.
It is a deterrence for people who are going to do bad things. This is to keep people safe and to understand that we are here for the American people.
The show of force stretching across the country right now. State capitals continue to be on high alert after a warning from the FBI of possible protest and violence from armed right-wing extremists.
Hopefully it will be peaceful, and then hopefully people will go home. But we just need people maybe to take a deep breath.
The country still trying to catch its breath after the deadly attack on the Capitol complex.
We never believed that so-called patriots would attempt to overthrow their government and kill police officers, but that's exactly what happened.
Security teams remain in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, this security presence is expected to stay in place in some form, not only here but across the country, well after Wednesday's inauguration. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Things remained peaceful at the Texas state capitol over the weekend. Security was ramped up there in anticipation of protest. We did see demonstrators and other people who were stopping to see what was going on. But again, everything here was peaceful. The state capitol is closed to the public through Wednesday, Inauguration Day. Turning now to your weather outside of your door right now. For those of you who do have the day off for MLK Day, it is going to get nicer. I know it looks a little cloudy out there right now, but listen, we've got some real changes headed our way. Meteorologist Samantha Davies is here with us this morning for a preview. Hi there, Samantha.
Hey, Laura, and we do have some clouds overhead, but then a few peaks of sun, and I think we'll see some sun as we head through the afternoon, and then another push of clouds makes its way into North Texas later this evening. Temperature-wise, we started the day in the 30s. We are sitting into the mid-50s in Dallas and Fort Worth right now. Winds are relatively light, but they're going to be picking up as well. So as we head through lunchtime, again, few peaks of sun, but we're going to be near 60 degrees within the next hour, and then your high temperature today makes it up to 65, not 55. 5. As we head deeper into the evening, the clouds increase, and then there is a chance of rain overnight tonight as a cold front comes through. Not only is that cold front going to be dropping temperatures into Tuesday, but it's also going to keep a slight chance of rain in the forecast tomorrow as well. Once we get to tomorrow, a wetter weather pattern sets up, and we've got several disturbances that are going to be pushing through North Texas, giving us a chance for some rain, and you'll see that rain chance staying in the forecast pretty much every single day this week. Coming up, Laura, we're going to take a look at one of our forecast models and pinpoint exactly when you could see some of this rain.
Okay, Samantha, thank you. Happening right now, the National Civil Rights Museum is holding a virtual MLK Day celebration. The King Day event will showcase Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s work, the history of how the national holiday came to be, and how the museum has celebrated the holiday in years past. The event kicked off just a few minutes ago on the museum's webpage. There are several events happening around our area today that many call a day on and not a day off. It's a day of volunteerism and unity throughout our region. Our Larry Collins takes a closer look at what's planned for today.
While many of the Martin Luther King Day events that we've become accustomed to, such as the parades, have had to be sidetracked because of COVID-19 restrictions, there was still quite a bit that happened today. Arlington started the day off with an event, and there's even a socially distanced march that's going on in Dallas right now. But for now, this really is a day about service, and that was certainly the case for students at Colleyville's Heritage High School. They held a drive-through day of action, taking donations for students in their own community whose families have been hard hit financially in the past year. It, too, is still ongoing, scheduled to last until 3 o'clock this afternoon. There's also a very big virtual event that's planned for Fort Worth from 3 to 4 o'clock today. We're told there will be a very emotional reading of the I Have a Dream speech. You can find all the events on our website, NBCDFW.com. Larry Collins, NBC5.
All right, Larry, thank you. Now to the very latest COVID-19 headlines. Today, many in the government, they're running those vaccination sites. They're actually closed because of the MLK holiday today. This week, the state of Texas is set to receive more than 333,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, those doses will be sent to vaccination hubs, hospitals, doctors' offices, and long-term care facilities. In addition, the state is ordering about 500,000 second doses. But there's growing frustration over who's getting the access to COVID vaccines in Dallas County. The vaccine hub at Dallas Fair Park is supposed to help an underserved community. But according to our partners over at the Dallas Morning News, only 97 people living near Fair Park actually received the shot out of the 3,000 that were given in the first few days. It comes after the county allowed walk-ups because of an error with appointments on the county's website. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson released a lengthy statement last night calling the entire situation a mess. He's now asking for more cooperation between the city and Dallas County. In the meantime, city leaders are trying to get the word out to those most vulnerable to the virus in underserved communities.
If you have a grandparent, if you have a mother or father, and they're older, they're elderly, help them get registered. Get on the county website, get them registered. You can also call the hotline, but that it's a long wait on that hotline. The easiest way to get in the system is to go ahead and just register online.
That was Councilmember West you just heard from there. He says the city hopes to give 20,000 people shots of the vaccine this week. We have a link to register in Dallas County and around North Texas right now on NBCDFW.com. You can find the links in the vaccine sign-up tab on our homepage. The state is expanding the number of vaccination hubs from 28 to 79. 15 of those hubs will be right here in North Texas. There will now be 5 hubs in Dallas County, 3 in Tarrant, 4 in Collin County, and 1 each in Denton, Fannin, and Parker counties. Now, Garland is one of those new state hubs, though the city says they are not ready just yet to start mass vaccinations.
Our goal here in Garland, once we are able to start operating as a hub, will be to be as transparent and as efficient and as fair as humanly possible.
Who you were just hearing from there is Garland City Council member Deborah Morris. She says they are still waiting on vaccines from the state, but preliminary plans include hosting a drive-through clinic at Homer B. Johnson Stadium. Until then, they are encouraging people to sign up on the Garland wait list. California is now the first state to report 3 million COVID cases. Meantime, there have been about 500 deaths and 40,000 new cases every day for the past 2 weeks. Santa Barbara County has the highest rate of COVID-19 spread out of any county in California. The IRS is delaying the start of the 2020 tax filing season. The IRS says it needs more time to prepare after the COVID Relief Act that took effect in late December. So the agency says it will start processing last year's tax returns on February 12th. Now, the IRS recommends taxpayers submit their returns electronically and use direct deposit. Well, coming up here, whether it's a closet or an office, getting organized is on many people's to-do list. The best ways to get it done coming up a little bit later. Plus, the issues President-elect Biden plans to tackle in his first day in office. We'll be right back.
NBC5 closed captioning is sponsored by Berkey's Plumbing, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. We're there when you need us. NBC5 News is brought to you by Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Welcome back. Arlington police say several customers may have walked past the man who shot and killed a clerk over the weekend. While it's hard to tell who this person might be, police say that is the suspect. Detectives say this person entered the Easy Mart, Barden and Matlock Road around 3:30 on Sunday morning and shot Jordan Hightower before stealing from that store. Hightower's family members spoke about their loss.
We don't hate, but we do want you to be accountable for what you've done, because you've taken away somebody that this world needed, and this world loves, and we loved him, and his family loved him.
Anyone with information is asked to call Arlington Police. President-elect Joe Biden is marking the Martin Luther King holiday as he prepares to become the next president. The challenges ahead of him are daunting, from the economy and national security to COVID-19. Here's NBC's Kristen Welker.
With just 2 days until he takes office, President-elect Joe Biden is poised to inherit a country grappling with a cluster of crises. Biden now unveiling new details about the major issues he'll tackle, vowing that within the first 10 days, he'll take a series of executive actions aimed at reversing some of President Trump's most controversial policies. Among them, ending the Trump travel ban on Muslim-majority countries, rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement, extending the pause on student loan payments, mandating mask wearing on federal property and interstate travel, speaking out overnight at a virtual event aimed at kicking off the inaugural week.
We know that times are tough, but because of you, we're filled with hope, and we're filled with hope for America's future.
Biden also proposing a sweeping $1.9 trillion relief package that would include an extra $1,400 in direct payments to families, billions in aid to state and local governments, and for the distribution of the COVID vaccine, promising 100 million doses of the vaccine in the first 100 days. Some GOP lawmakers are already balking at the price tag.
So $1.9 trillion is way too much. We just did $900 billion.
Further complicating Biden's agenda, the impeachment trial of President Trump, which could begin in just days. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
The American people deserve that in their president and vice president coming into office, that we address the things that are weighing on them and implement a plan.
Biden has also said he will aim to unify a deeply divided nation and work with Republicans. Aides tell NBC News Biden's inaugural address will draw on themes of unity and healing.
And that was Kristen Welker reporting. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will resign her seat in the U.S. Senate today. Her replacement, Alex Padilla, could be sworn in this week. Something good happened to a local family struggling through the pandemic, and much of that thanks goes to their daughter. The Spears family of Dallas was recently surprised with this, a brand new car thanks to a contest with Park Place dealerships. Their daughter, Caroline, nominated the family for the free 2-year lease of the Volvo XC40. Caroline wrote she appreciated all the sacrifices her parents have made in her life, and she just wanted to do something for them in return, especially knowing that her father's car was no longer reliable. And now, some relief.
I think it means just a little bit of peace of mind during this stressful time. You know, COVID has been stressful for so many people, but I think especially my family. And so just knowing that we don't have to worry about getting a new car for my dad or his old car breaking or anything like that. We just have peace of mind for 2 years.
Caroline says the crazy part of all of this is she actually saw the contest on social media from a post from an Instagram influencer, Danny Austin. As part of the Park Place Cares program, Park Place Volvo selected the Spears family from more than 700 applicants. Congratulations to them. Hey, from one brand new car to this, here's something you don't see every day. Watch this picture. A Tulsa man used 2020 to build something he has always wanted, the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Ryan Burke said he has always wanted a collection of movie and TV cars, so 2020 gave him some extra time to do it. He and his wife bought an old van and revamped it. It took about 4 months to complete. He's also starting a small business in it called Snack Waves. It's like a vending machine on wheels, and part of the proceeds will go to local organizations doing good things in the community. His next work of art, he's trying to create a Batmobile and the Back to the Future DeLorean. All right. Time now to take a look outside your window right now with meteorologist Samantha Davies. Hey there, Samantha.
Hey, Laura. We've got a mix of sun and clouds out there, but temperatures are on the way up. We hit 60 degrees yesterday in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're going to be a little bit warmer than that today, reaching a high of 65. Now, as we take a look across downtown Dallas, you'll see those clouds, but across parts of North Texas, you're seeing a glimpse of that sun. 54 is the current temperature at DFW Airport, and the winds are still pretty light, so not really dealing with a wind chill factor right now. I do expect those winds to pick up this afternoon, coming in from a southerly direction up to 20 miles per hour. So your forecast for today, again, it's going to be mild. We're going to make it to 65 degrees. Temperatures running above normal. That's about 10 degrees above where we typically are this time in January. And again, a south wind develops at around 16 miles per hour, at most 20, maybe gusts up to 25. As we take a look at the S-band radar, even though we have some clouds in and around North Texas, we are not seeing any rain, and we're going to stay rain-free through tonight. And then once we see some rain push in tonight, we're kind of set up for an on and off rainy pattern for the rest of the week. So here's a look at our forecast model, and it looks like a blank map because I'm not expecting any rain. Here's through lunchtime, 12:30 this afternoon. As we head deeper into the afternoon and evening, we stay dry through about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Then a cold front starts to push into North Texas, and late tonight, here's 11:30, some rain will start to develop in North Texas, and it'll be hit or miss through the overnight hours and into early tomorrow morning. So here's 6:30 on Tuesday morning. As we head through Tuesday afternoon, again, a few showers possible in DFW, mainly for the southern half of North Texas. And this rain is just going to kind of come and go as we head through Tuesday night and throughout the day Wednesday. I think we have another kind of push coming through on Thursday. So what's the reason for this change in our weather pattern? It was nice yesterday, it's nice today. Well, there's a large area of low pressure that's kind of centered over Southern California, and this is going to stay stationary. It's not going to really move this week. So with an active jet stream pattern, it's going to send disturbances our way. That, combined with some moisture coming in from the Pacific, will bring periods of rain on and off for the rest of the week and into this upcoming weekend. Now, when you hear the chance of rain in the forecast every single day, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually just a little bit of light rain, hit and miss every single day. And if you take a look at rainfall totals through the start of the weekend, we're only talking about 1/4 inch to maybe 1/2 inch of rain in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Once you get off to the east, where there's a little bit more moisture in the air, you could see some higher rainfall totals, but still maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And then the farther east you go into East Texas, you could see over 1 inch of rain. So again, the rain chances begin in North Texas tonight. After about 10 or 11, it's a 30% chance for some showers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And with that cold front coming through, it's going to change our wind direction. So we'll have a northeasterly wind around 15 miles per hour. Low temperature tonight drops to 49 degrees. Tomorrow, only going to be climbing into the low 50s. Again, slight chance for some showers, and it will be breezy with that northeasterly wind continuing. Wednesday and Thursday, chance of showers. We have a little bit of a warm up on Thursday. We're back into the 60s. Friday, look for a couple of showers during the morning. Then I think we get a little bit of a stretch of dry weather throughout the day Friday, most of Saturday, but then Saturday night into the start of next week, additional rain chances return to the forecast. Laura?
Samantha, thank you. Well, Sarah Fuller, the first woman to score in a Power 5 conference football game and now a transfer student at the University of North Texas, will be part of history once again on Wednesday. The Wylie High School alum says she's been invited to attend the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. She tweeted, quote, It's an honor to be invited to participate in one of America's greatest traditions. Coming up here, President Trump's final days in the White House, what we're learning about his legal defense ahead of the Senate's impeachment trial.
Committed to offering the support you need, we're here to help. NBC5 responds.
Change is underway in Washington, D.C. today as President Trump spends his last Monday as president. Moving vans have been seen at the White House, although there have been no sightings of the president himself. NBC's Peter Alexander reports.
With the Trump years now down to their final hours, moving vans outside the West Wing, but President Trump remains out of sight. No public events in nearly a week. Vice President Pence assuming the duties traditionally reserved for the commander-in-chief, thanking troops at Fort Drum.
God bless all of those in the armed forces of the United States.
Facing a Senate impeachment trial, the president privately strategizing his defense. Spotted at the White House Saturday, Rudy Giuliani, who initially told ABC he would be part of the president's defense team, before backtracking, saying he's unable to participate because he also spoke at that Trump rally hours before the Capitol siege.
Let's have trial by combat.
A Trump spokesman says the president has not yet made a determination about his legal team, slamming the process as an impeachment hoax. Incoming Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer telling 60 Minutes it's crucial the president face trial, even though he'll already be out of office.
What Donald Trump did is the most despicable action any president has ever taken. And he should be convicted at this trial.
The president's ally, Lindsey Graham, warning a trial will further divide the country and calling on President-elect Biden to come out against it.
If you do not stand up against the impeachment of President Trump after he leaves office, you're an incredibly weak figure in American history.
In his waning days, the president's eyeing last-minute pardons, including possible pardons to himself, his family members, and top advisors, according to a source familiar with the matter. The New York Times reports the president's allies have collected tens of thousands of dollars from wealthy felons and their associates to push the White House for clemency. The Times citing documents and interviews with more than 36 lobbyists and lawyers.
And that was Peter Alexander reporting. President Trump is expected to be in Mar-a-Lago when Biden takes the oath of office, becoming the first living president in more than 150 years to skip his successor's inauguration. Still to come here, honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., virtually and in person. North Texans share why today is so important.
See the exciting Dinosaurs Live exhibit at the Hurd Natural Science Museum and Wildlife Sanctuary. Experience moving dinosaurs, including a 46-foot-long T-Rex along the Hurd Nature Trails. Dinosaurs Live. Visit NBCDFW.com for more info today.
You're watching NBC5 News at 11.
We start this half hour with the weather changes coming to North Texas. A mix of sun and clouds today for many of us, but that's not going to be the case for the rest of the week. Meteorologist Samantha Davies here with us to tell us all about it. Samantha, you said it's sunny at your house.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on where you are. I think we'll see periods of sun through the afternoon, but tonight the clouds and rain move in, and once the rain pushes in, it's going to be on and off for the rest of the week. Temperatures, meanwhile, are pretty mild on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We have made it into the mid and upper 50s in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, sitting at 57 in Fort Worth, 55 in McKinney, 56 for that current temperature in Arlington. As we head through the afternoon, again, some of you see clouds, some of you see sun. The winds are going to pick up, so it is going to be quite breezy later this afternoon with a strong south wind around 20 miles per hour. But temperatures as we head towards 3-4 o'clock will be in the low to mid 60s, and that is about 10 degrees warmer than we typically are this time of year. As we head into the evening and overnight, the clouds move in and the rain chance begins. And again, once the rain gets here tonight, it's on and off for the rest of the week. You'll see rain chances sticking with us through the end of the week and even into this upcoming weekend. Coming up, we'll take a look at one of our forecast models to let you kind of pinpoint when you're most likely going to see the rain. And then Laura will also talk about how much we're going to get coming up.
Samantha, thank you. Well, there are many ways to honor Dr. King's life and legacy today on this federal holiday. Our Vince Sims takes a look at how North Texans are keeping the dream alive, even during a pandemic.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a civil rights icon deserving of recognition and celebrations. This year, because of the coronavirus pandemic, the celebrations continue, but mostly virtual.
So I think by us being virtual, it will expand our awareness of Fort Worth.
Jim Austin is co-founder of the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum that recognizes cowboys of color. He feels it's important to keep celebrations going, even if they are virtual.
We're showing a sense that we care, that we will never, ever forget about what Martin Luther King meant to this nation.
Folk are itching to have something to do, and I really think it's going to help. It's a pity that it's taken a pandemic to get people together.
Mrs. Opal Lee is also hopeful MLK Day, even virtually, will bring people together.
We can never repay or even think about saying thank you for what he did. And so we need to build on that.
She's building her own legacy on a mission to get Juneteenth declared a federal holiday. But at the same time, she and Austin encourages everyone to continue building on Dr. King's dream.
You have to make yourself a committee of one and be about the business of making our lives better. You can't wait on anybody else to do it. You've got to do it yourself.
My motto is the more that I give, the more that I receive. Participate, work within your community, work within your church.
In Fort Worth, Vince Sims, NBC5.
And NBC5 is proud to be the media sponsor for events at the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum in Fort Worth, as well as the City of Arlington's Advancing the Dream celebration. We have more information on those celebrations and others happening across North Texas. Just go to our website, NBCDFW.com, and click on MLK Day events at the top of the homepage. Now to the very latest on the pandemic. Another 32 people died from complications of the virus on Sunday in Dallas and Tarrant counties. There were also nearly 3,000 new infections reported. We are also learning that a much more contagious COVID-19 variant is now in Dallas County. A man in his 20s has it. He's now isolated and said to be doing okay. Texas is the first state in the country to vaccinate 1 million people, but health leaders still have a lot to do. So far, more than 12,000 people received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine at Fair Park. Stephen Jones and his wife were among them.
The scale is so high on COVID now, and at our age, so we figured it'd be to our advantage to get it.
Texas plans to expand and almost triple the amount of coronavirus vaccine hubs across the state, including 15 right here in North Texas. Some of those providers include hospital systems like Parkland, which is focused on frontline workers, but is now working to vaccinate patients as well. There is growing frustration nationwide with the slow rollout of the coronavirus vaccine, though. People are having a hard time just getting one vaccine, while others are not getting their critical second dose. NBC's Kerry Sanders has the very latest on that, plus a scare involving a large number of vaccines.
Overnight, California reaching an unwanted milestone, becoming the first state to pass 3 million COVID cases. Health officials there are investigating a large batch of Moderna vaccines after a higher than usual number of severe allergic reactions at a San Diego clinic.
The second I said something about my ear, they all sprung into action. They grabbed an EpiPen and they took me from the area where I was sitting at onto a gurney.
330,000 doses of those vaccines have already been distributed to nearly 300 providers statewide, who are now being asked to delay using the shots. Meanwhile, the nation's demand for the COVID vaccine unrelenting, while distribution of the highly sought-after shot is falling far short.
We stand very, very vulnerable, and the state is supposed to be helping us.
Much of the anger directed at the Trump administration's failure to provide the stockpiles of vaccines it promised.
The fact that we've underdelivered to so many states on this second dose is deeply concerning.
And frustrating.
It is a total cluster.
In Florida, the Department of Health says more than 40,000 people who received their first vaccine dose failed to show up for the second.
Your fear for those who skip the second dose?
There's no ability to be flexible with that. There's no ability to be the exception to that rule here. You need to get that second dose.
By Inauguration Day, the COVID death toll could reach 400,000. At the current rate, health officials fear we could reach 500,000 deaths by February. President-elect Biden promising 100 million doses in his first 100 days.
The feasibility of his goal is absolutely clear. There's no doubt about that can be done.
And that was Kerry Sanders reporting. A new president will be sworn into office this week, and the nation's capital is preparing for the inauguration. Thousands of National Guard troops will patrol the Capitol streets this week. As a precaution, the FBI plans to vet every National Guard troop going into Washington for the inauguration. The massive undertaking reflects the extraordinary security concerns that have gripped Washington following the deadly riots at the Capitol.
Having our fellow Americans storm the Capitol in an attempt to overthrow the government certainly warrants heightened security.
That was Washington, D.C. Mayor Bowser right there. Across the country, the National Guard has been called in to protect at least 13 state capitals. Now to an update on the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan's governor. A trial date has been set for March for the 6 men charged in that case. Now, investigators say the suspects were anti-government extremists who were angry over the state's coronavirus policies. All 6 suspects face a conspiracy charge and, if convicted, could face a maximum of life in prison. Coming up here, organizing your home takes a lot of work and patience, but it's all about the baby steps. We have tips from an expert. Plus, anxiety surrounding COVID-19 and the very latest protest in our country. The ways to cope, next on NBC5. The riot at the U.S. Capitol and the possibility of more violent protests are taking a toll on the country's mental health. Millions are already worried about COVID-19. NBC's Sarah Dallof has that story.
Scenes like these sparking anxiety across America.
We're living in a crazy world these days.
Adding to the already existing stress of COVID-19. A Boston University study found rates of depression have tripled during the pandemic.
Well, it's certainly normal to not feel normal these days.
Mayo Clinic psychologist Dr. Craig Sawchuk says that mental strain can manifest physically and emotionally.
We may see that in terms of sleep disruptions, sleeping too much, headaches. Some of us may react more emotionally. We may find that we're just more sad, more down. Maybe our emotions are a little bit more blunted or we're more irritable.
He suggests taking news and social media breaks or setting limits, for example, 30-minute windows twice a day. Try to eat well, make sleep a priority, and connect with those you care about.
Doing things like that can help us stay reconnected with healthy supports in our life and start to build in some of those pressure release valves that we've really been needing over time.
When it comes to talking with kids about what has happened, let them take the lead by asking what they already know and what worries them.
It's really important that we acknowledge and we validate the worries and the stressors, that our kiddos have, but also be optimistic about the future.
Ways to cope during increasingly difficult days. Sarah Davies, NBC News.
And the doctor there says it may be time to seek the help of a trained mental professional when, as adults, we're struggling with our normal day-to-day responsibilities. Coming up here on this King Day 2021, we talk to a man who spent much of his young life fighting for equality during the civil rights movement. The one thing he says Dr. King might think about our country today. And just a reminder here, you have until February 12th to join the Project Innovation Grant Challenge. NBC5 and Telemundo 39, along with the Comcast NBC Universal Foundation, will award $315,000 to North Texas organizations doing their best to help their communities. Visit NBCDFW.com and search Project Innovation for the grant application. We'll be right back.
Building a legacy, standing with Texas. NBC5 investigates.
As we celebrate King Day, I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Ernest McMillan of Dallas, who participated in the civil rights movement. Mr. McMillan was a well-known activist with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in the 70s. Years before that, they played a large part in the freedom rides aimed at desegregating buses. It was a civil rights group formed to give young African Americans a bigger voice. Because even after the passage of the Civil Rights Act, McMillan said so many things still were not fair. McMillan even met Dr. King. He is reminding us that today should be filled with reflection and service.
Well, it's an important day, just recognizing the life and legacy of a great human being. I knew how he was treated with scorn and abuse, hatred, stabbed, spat on, thrown in jail. So I kind of recognized that his life was not an easy one, but it's one he chose to follow his heart and spirit. We use his example because he did so many good things, and he's an ordinary human being who did extraordinary things. So
you had met Dr. Luther King Jr. a few times. If he was living now, what would you think that he would say about the current state of America?
I think he would be, he's a realist though, and I think he would understand that the struggle continues. But I think he would be overall positive and proud of our young people today and how unity has been enhanced. But I think he'd be urging us to not just stop now, and let's not just waste our emotions and get back to business as usual, but let's organize, let's keep fighting, let's keep it going, and let's help others to awaken and get involved too.
And so now that we're at 2021, past the Civil Rights Act, past all of what has happened, but we're still living the dream of Dr. King. And I feel like people like you, Mr. McMillan, we just appreciate what you have done because you have laid the groundwork for what we are seeing now and what can happen for the future.
So in the spirit of King, and also the spirit of Frederick Douglass said, there's no progress without struggle. So if our young people and old can work together to join forces and get involved and participate, whether it's voting, whether it's encouraging others, whether it's organizing, whether it's contributing and supporting others who are doing, whether it's saying an encouraging word, whether it's listening to young people when they voice their concerns. We all have a job and we can brighten up the corner where we are. And so I think that what Dr. King would say to us today, keep on keeping on.
You can read more about Mr. McMillan's story on our website right now, NBCDFW.com. All right, turning now to the weather outside of your window with meteorologist Samantha Davies. Hey there, Samantha.
Hey, Laura, we've got some clouds overhead this midday with just a few peaks of sun out there, but overall temperatures are on the way up. We started today down into the 30s and we've managed to climb into the mid 50s this midday. 54 is the current temperature at DFW Airport, and as we take a live look across Dallas, you can definitely see some of those clouds overhead. Now, again, some of you seeing some sun right now, and we'll be in and out of the clouds as we head through the afternoon. Here's a look at temperatures today. We're climbing into the mid and low 60s area wide, and these temperatures are about 10 degrees above normal for this time of year, so very mild considering it's January. Now, we do have a cold front that's coming through tonight, so a northeasterly wind will start to develop during the overnight hours, and tomorrow morning we start the day in the upper 40s, but then with the reinforcing shot of cool air tomorrow, we're only going to be staying down into the 50s. So this is the last mild day for a few days. Temperatures tomorrow again topping out generally in the low to mid 50s, maybe briefly popping up into the upper 50s. As we take a check of our S-band radar this midday, again, some clouds overhead, but no precipitation coming out of those clouds. We are dry right now. We're going to be staying dry through the early part of the evening. Here's a look at Futurecast, our forecast model, and again, no rain expected through lunchtime. Even as we head through the evening, again, staying rain-free through about 7, 8 o'clock. Once we get deeper into the night and a cold front comes through, here's 11:30 tonight with some showers developing in North Texas. And once the rain gets here, it'll be hit and miss through Tuesday morning. So here's 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, spotty showers in North Texas. Through lunchtime tomorrow, spotty showers mainly for the southern portion of DFW. And then as we head into your Tuesday evening, couple of showers still possible, but we keep this trend of on and off showers going for the rest of the week. Now, we've got a cold front initially starting some of those rain chances tonight, but then it all depends on a large area of low pressure sitting off in Southern California. This is pretty much going to stay here and not budge much this week. So we've got an active jet stream and some Pacific moisture coming in. So this area of low pressure is going to send a few disturbances our way. And that's what's going to keep the chance of rain in the forecast almost every single day. Now, we're not going to be getting heavy rain, and rainfall totals aren't going to be too high. We could use a little more than we're actually getting, about 1/4 of an inch to maybe 1/2 inch of rain in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then those rainfall totals go up as you head towards the east, maybe as much of 1 inch of rain possible for Canton, down into Corsicana, even into the Athens area. So that is all possible between tonight and Saturday. So for today, few peaks of sun, but also some clouds out there. I think 65 will be the official high temperature, with a strong and gusty south wind developing around 15 miles per hour, maybe gusting up to 20 or 25. Tonight, some clouds overhead, and later on tonight, a 30% chance for some showers. Low temperature dropping down to 49 degrees, and then not budging much tomorrow. We're only talking about highs into the low 50s. 30% chance for showers continues with a northeasterly wind. Wednesday and Thursday, 40% chance for on and off showers. Temperatures climb a little bit on Thursday, so Thursday we're back into the 60s. I think after a couple of morning showers on Friday, most of Friday is dry, most of Saturday is dry, but then we have another push of rain coming in Saturday night, and that's going to bring us rain chances early next week. Laura?
Samantha, thank you. If getting organized is on your list of things to do in 2021, you are not alone. More than $20 billion is spent on organizational products each year. Leaders in the industry say anyone can do it and it doesn't have to break the bank. NBC's Dan Scheneman has more.
I've helped thousands of clients transform their homes.
I'm a recovering super slob.
Cassandra Arson is an organizational expert.
So the big myth is if I only got organized, then I'd have space for everything. But organizing doesn't create space. Decluttering creates space.
A free quiz on Arson's website, Clutterbug, helps find your organizing style.
If you know what naturally works for you, you can set up a system that actually stays organized for good.
I think your space is a reflection of you, and by organizing it, you're setting yourself up for success in the rest of your life.
The Spruce's Melanie Berlier says take baby steps when tackling the clutter.
It can often help to divide a space into smaller sections that you can tackle within an hour and do a little bit each day.
The Spruce teamed up with Lowe's Home Improvement stores, offering a line of storage items to help make the process easier.
There are containers in many different sizes that can suit any different space.
So identify your hotspots wherever it is in your home, and then look around that space where you can take that hotspot and dedicate a home for it.
Arson says fear can be a stumbling block.
Don't be afraid to try, and don't be afraid to fail, because that's how I really found out what worked for me, was trying new things, not trying new containers and new products, but rearranging things in my home until I found what really worked.
Finding what works and starting the new year off with a clean slate. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Coming up next, 5 stories to know on this MLK Day.
Join NBC5 to celebrate and honor Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday with virtual programs that encourage and empower our community. Visit NBCDFW.com/community for a list of uplifting North Texas events that encourage peace, unity, and hope. The Denton Black Film Festival is virtual, featuring over 136 films, workshops, art exhibits, and musical performances. Experience culture as we tell our stories. January 27th through February 1st.
5 stories we're following through the afternoon here at NBC5. 48 hours to the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, and security tightens in D.C. There are thousands of background checks happening right now of National Guard troops and others as the vetting process for that security force ramps up. The Frisco realtor facing federal charges for her involvement in the January 6th violence at the U.S. Capitol says she played no part in the violence and had no idea what was happening inside of the Capitol. Ryan was photographed inside the Capitol in the mass of people. She condemned the violence in an interview with NBC News and is now asking President Trump to pardon her. This Martin Luther King Jr. holiday marks a day of service for so many. President-elect Joe Biden joined an outdoor assembly line to pack boxes of food for families in the Philadelphia area. We'll show you how North Texans are spending this day celebrating Dr. King's life and legacy. And we're also learning more about the latest strain of the COVID-19 virus now spreading in North Texas. We'll hear from doctors about that highly contagious version of the virus. And ahead here on NBC5, first at 4, Trash Collection Day is a big deal in one family's house. The terrific friendship forged between a young boy and a city sanitation worker. The Trash Collection Buddies on NBC5, first at 4. And before we go, one last check of your weather with Samantha.
Yeah, relatively mild weather today with high temperatures climbing into the mid-60s. A cold front comes through tonight, so tomorrow is going to be much cooler with highs down into the low 50s. And we also have a chance of rain. That rain chance will be on and off for the rest of the week and into this upcoming weekend. Laura?
All right, Samantha, thank you so very much. And you can see all of the virtual events happening for MLK Day on our website right now, NBCDFW.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.